The mountains top, walk on water. I got power, feel so royal. 1 second, I'ma strike for you.
I'm ready to start laying tie plates, and I'm going to go over some of the tools I'm going to use. I'm going to use some little fine point tweezers, a pick, the jig, of course, the tie plate jig, and I'll show you how this works. The tie plate jig just slides over these pins in the tie jig and overlays the ties. I'll point out that it's important that you keep the ties in the tie jig in a stable position. I'm using tape to hold mine down. You can also magnet it down, and magnet down your tie jig. I have my tie plates cut out. These are the standard tie plates here, and I have all the special tie plates in a little box, little pill box separated. I had mentioned before I like to just keep them on the fret, but with doing so many turnouts, it got time consuming to do them one at a time. So I cut them out and I put them into a pill box. While I'm looking at this pill box, I'll just make a suggestion. Don't get a pill box like this. It has a little locking mechanism, which I thought was great, but if you can see in the pill box, there's a little, to get the things out, there's a little thing, open area here where the lock goes into, that is prone for tie plates to fall into. So if you were to buy one, I'd just buy one that doesn't have this whole locking system thing. I'll start with just some of the standard tie plates and show you how I do this. I don't like to have too many of them out. Just pour a few of them. Get them out here. The easiest way actually to pick up a tie plate is not with tweezers. It's with your finger. You can lick your finger. Sounds gross. Or get a little water on it. Wet your finger basically, and the tie plate should stick to your finger. And you can get them out there and put them how you want. I like to get them kind of situated where I'm kind of get them. I'll show you something. You see that with the magnet? Something you got to watch for is that magnets, believe it or not, attract your steel tools. So you want to keep your magnet holding it away from your tools, or fashion tools. I should mention I've fashioned tools out of rail also, where they're not magnetic, it's just nickel silver rail I filed out. So alternate way to pick your ties is to lift them with your finger and use a pick. Trying to get this so it's visible on video. Use a pick. There's a little D shape in all the ties, you can see here. So it holds it right on the tip of the thing, and you place it into the jig when you get your glue down. So, but I actually like to use the tweezers and then a pick to push them in place or push them around. Let's take your syringe with super glue, and you want a really tiny drop. This is getting too big of drops. There we go. Small, tiny drop. Do a couple ties. So I have a couple tie plates ready. I got a little drop there, and how you orient these, the D, the straight side of the D and the little circle on these tie plates should be into the inside. Press down with my finger to make sure I get it oriented just right. Same with this one here. Get it oriented right. D shape. Straight side of the D. Facing to the inside. Get it in place and tap it down. And the reason you want to have a small amount of glue, so it doesn't spread out and it doesn't get a big lump of glue. If it spreads out and gets under the jig, or if you lose a tie plate into the jig, you know, pop the jig off carefully so you don't remove your tie plates that haven't dried yet. And you know, take your rig with wet acetone and clean it off. I'll also mention that I've tried other glues in this process. I tried a 2-part epoxy, and that was didn't work well. You had to dab it on one at a time, and then it didn't stick very well. They didn't stay on that great. I've also tried the barge cement, and the advantage with using barge cement is it's fast. The disadvantage, well, it's fast because you can paint a bunch of ties, put the overlay on, and you got a tacky thing, and you can just start sticking your ties on there instead of doing them one by one with the glue. The disadvantage is that you got to be really careful when you're laying your ties, or when you're laying your rail eventually, that you don't reactivate the barge and have your tie slide. So it's not recommended. Basically, the super glue is the way to go. I'll just hit a few more, and then maybe I'll do some of the special ties, the slide plates. And I want to mention also that when you look at the jig, it's pretty obvious which ties are the, you know, the standard ties go there. When you get into the more specialized ties, they have different holes. And some of them look similar. Proto 87 Stores has a PDF file. It's basically a template of the turnout, and it shows which tie plates go where. And that's pretty much essential to print out and have online or have on hand, as well as the little graphic that I had shown with the tie plates about which tie plates are which. You get used to which ones are which after using them for a while, but it's nice to have a graphic to reference back to. I'll go with some of these slide plates that go in here, and slide plates are easy to orient. In addition to having the the little D shape, they have another hole in them where you would put a rail brace, and obviously the rail brace is going to go to the outside of the rail. I'll put a pair of slide plates in here. And while I'm building this, I'm also going to point out that I'm going to, the 5th and the 6th rail, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are where the head block ties are. So I'm not even going to place tie plates, because eventually, once I get the majority of the ties in here, I'm going to slip these ties out and put some longer head block ties in here in the 5th and 6th, and then I'll put tie plates in those. So I'm going to the 7th tie now. I'm going to put a little dab, slide this guy in place. If I'm even thinking that I got a little glue spread onto the jig, I like to hold the tie down, or the tie plate down, and just lift the jig a little so that glue doesn't dry on there. Once it gets dried, it's easy to take it off, but you risk losing the tie plate, so, which isn't a big deal. You got lots of tie plates. The special tie plates you have more limited amount of, so kind of more of a pain if you mess them up. You run out of them, you got to order more. Let's do a couple more of these slide plates. If you're looking at that little graphic on the Proto Adhesive website, the slide plates are labeled SP. And these are great when you get them installed and the rail installed. They have the little holes in them for the rail braces, and it makes it just pop that much more. So I'll show you how this looks with a few of them on. Okay, I got a few of those in. I want to get up here right where the frog turns into the frog rails, and I'll just show you here that it's pretty important to make sure for electrical conductivity issues that your tie plates don't touch each other. So this is a little critical point, that you make sure you got them on there just right and they're not touching. As everybody knows, if they touch, they're metal, you're going to end up with a short. And I'll just show you that. Being that there's a gap in there, they're not touching. Show you another little critical point here with the frog plates. Get some of these frog plates out. Frog plates get placed side by side. So you want to make sure that there's very little flash on these when you're cutting them out, or that you can control the flash and have them on opposite sides. Try to show you one here that's not cut out very well. Okay, you can barely see, but there's a little flash on the sides of the frog plates. And I did it on both sides. If it's on one side, it's not so bad because you can butt them up since they go right next to each other. And you can basically pick the smooth side to put against the smooth side. But if they're both like that, it doesn't work out very well. You can't get them to butt up next to each other. So like this one, this is just not usable for me. Also, some of them have holes, some have knobs for simulated bolt detail, some have holes for actual putting tie spikes in. I like to mix them up because I do actually use the spikes, but I like to have the bolt heads there because they're a nice way to guide the where you place the frog. I'll put one of these in here, a pair of them. Put a little glue. Get them in. Get them slid into place. This one doesn't have any glue. Pull it out. Put a little glue down there. There we go. There's a set of frog plates. Alright, now just 100 more to go, and that's about all there is to it. It's actually not hard. It looks time consuming and it takes some time, but I don't mind it because, like I said, you get really, really nice looking results. I'll just go to this section here again, let you see. I mean, does that look nice or what? It looks nice. Can't say it doesn't because it does. I like it. Thanks for watching.